feel the power of the God.
Channel. My name, of course, is Jericho. So on today's war story, I'm going to do a quick little reaction to E3. I'm recording this at the end of day one of the actual conference, so there might still be some big surprises on the later days on the show floor. But all of the major companies have already had their press conferences and all that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and call it, so I can go ahead and get this up, and we're going to go more or less in order that the conference has happened. One thing I would like to say though is I fully admit that I'm biased. I have a Wii U, I have a PS4, of course, that I always record on, but I don't have an Xbox. So a lot of the Microsoft stuff did not interest me as much, but I still will make mention of the things that I thought stood out as pretty darn cool anyways. So, first conference was EA's, which I thought was hugely disappointing. So EA has the exclusive rights to make Star Wars games. And they made this, they made Battlefront, they've announced Battlefront 2 for next year, but they have done nothing else with it. And it's unbelievable to me. Like, they talk about, okay, Visceral is working on this, and they showed, like, I think it was literally 6 seconds of footage. And that's all we get after all this waiting time. So like, they bought it so that nobody else gets to make Star Wars games. The only way we can get a new Star Wars game is if EA feels like putting one out, and this has been the only one. And I'm really happy with Battlefront. It's fun. There's a reason I do it for War Stories every single week, but that's not enough when you have a license and you stopped. I mean, it basically killed LucasArts, and we get nothing to show for it but Battlefront. Leia totally has it out for me. So that was my biggest takeaway from EA. I mean, they showed some other stuff, but none of it I could really get excited about, just speaking for myself. Later on, I think these were on Sunday, was Bethesda's conference. And they, I thought, had a really good showing. I'm really excited about the Skyrim remaster. I think I definitely would do some Skyrim stuff on the channel, especially since the Skyrim remaster will have access to mods like Fallout 4 is going to. I can mod it so they don't have the spiders, which are absolutely horrifying to me and have, like, honestly made me, like, not enjoy the game as much at times. But just seeing it, like, even though it was such a gorgeous game when it first came out, it has kind of aged poorly because it was so photorealistic at the time, and now graphics have advanced a lot past that. But seeing what they're going to be able to do with today's graphics and all made me super excited. So it kind of sucks that that's the state of things, but the Skyrim remaster is actually one of my biggest games of E3 I'm really looking forward to, even though it's just a remake. Also at Bethesda's conference, they announced some more DLC for Fallout. I haven't really gotten into the Far Harbor yet, but this stuff looked cool. I'm way more interested by the tease of the Nuka World large expansion. I'm hoping that it'll be like Far Harbor, like have a lot to offer than like the contraptions and the vault. The vault tech seems kind of cool. Like it seems like basically it'll be like Fallout Shelter in your actual Fallout 4, which is cool. But I don't know. I've been kind of disappointed with what they've had to offer in terms of Fallout DLC so far, speaking for myself. The other thing that Bethesda had that was really exciting for me was Dishonored 2. So Dishonored, I thought, for being kind of under the radar last gen, is really just one of the best games. I was sold. I'm not a big stealth game guy, and I usually stick with like IP I know I'm gonna like with. I mean, I know I'm gonna like, I should say, but Dishonored just sold me on its art style and just the feel of it, and I totally loved it. I haven't played through the definitive edition on PS4 as well, so very much looking forward to it. And I think it's cool. You can play as multiple characters, and the new outsider powers like the time manipulation and stuff looks really interesting. So definitely hugely excited for Dishonored 2. I would say it and Skyrim are both among my maybe top 10 games of E3. I don't know if I'll actually do the list in its entirety, but we'll see. So that was basically it for Bethesda at Microsoft's conference. And like I said, you know, Microsoft, you can kind of take my word on Microsoft with a grain of salt because I'm less interested in it. But I thought the Xbox One S looked really, really cool. It is very tempting. So I can get into on all these games, you know, I've been wanting to play. And a 4K player that cheap, like it's a good bit cheaper than any other on the market. So it's pretty cool. It's like what Sony was able to do for Blu-ray players with the PlayStation 3, which was one of the big reasons when I first bought a PS3 over a 360. So definitely something I'm going to watch very closely, and I would not be surprised if I eventually take the plunge on that, but not if I get a PlayStation VR, which is also extremely, extremely tempting despite how expensive it is. I don't know, maybe that YouTube money will start rolling in and it won't be such a big deal. But anyway, the Xbox Scorpio is interesting too. That's the one thing that kind of is holding me back about the S, is like I'll regret it if I buy it and then right off the bat it's outclassed by the Scorpio. But I thought, you know, it still is cool, it still is exciting to have like this half a generation thing, although I don't think it's a very sustainable model in the long term. Dead Rising 4 looked amazing. And then, of course, I thought their biggest announcement is just this crazy cross-platform stuff they're going to be able to do. Like having Minecraft, like one guy's playing on his phone, one guy's playing on his Xbox, one guy's playing on his PC, all playing together. That's the future. That's really something special. So, yeah, Sony certainly can't touch Microsoft in the regard of connectivity, compatibility. They have the market corner on backwards compatibility right now, too. So definitely have us there. The next big conference, yeah, I mean, like I said, Scalebound looks cool. I forgot to mention Prey in the Bethesda conference. It seemed neat, but I'm just kind of doing like an overview of the ones I was really excited about. You watch the channel to hear what I have to say about this kind of thing, so I'm hitting the high points. Ubisoft, I thought was pretty disappointing. Not a lot to really get excited about. The game I'm most excited for coming out of Ubisoft in the next little while is the new South Park, The Fractured But Whole. I really, really liked Stick of Truth. I thought it was really, really fun, and a lot of people complained that it was too short, but I thought it was a very good length. I thought it didn't overstay its welcome, didn't overplay its jokes, which, you know, a comedy game, like, it's tough. There's a reason that comedy games are so rare. You know, like, you might have a funny moment here and there, but that's never really the big goal of the thing. So they were careful not to overstay their welcome, which I thought was important. And I'm excited about the Coon and Friends theme this time around instead of the, you know, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones stuff. I think it's a cool change. Whoops, that was a waste. So yeah, that's my biggest takeaway from Ubisoft. So now we have the Sony conference, which obviously, since the PS4 is 100% responsible for me, was my biggest source of excitement for the conference. The new God of War looks incredible. I made the joke on Twitter, more like God of Thor, because now we're dealing with, you know, the Nordic pantheon of gods. It seems like a reboot, and I don't know, but it's still Kratos. And they said, like, you can see he still has the scar from Zeus, so what's really going on there? I think it was really going to be interesting to see. I did hear that that the kid is going to be with you through the entire game, and I don't think, I mean, God of War is like so popular for what it does that I don't think they would risk, you know, the fan backlash of it being like escorts. You know, I think it's gonna be like an exciting, fun, and they show like the RPG elements too. I think it's gonna be a big departure and something we've never really seen before, but I also think that it's not gonna be like, you're still gonna be pleased with it's still gonna feel like a God of War game. It's not gonna feel like something else. So very, very excited to see that. That was definitely another one of my like games of the show. They showed some more of Horizon Zero Dawn, which unfortunately got delayed until next year, but that was a standout of last year's E3 to me. It still looks incredible. I really like the design of the characters and the style of it, the feel of it. I don't know. It just hits a lot of my buttons. I think Horizon looks extremely, extremely fun, and I'll be looking forward to it. Even though it is, you know, fall into next year now, I'm excited just to get a chance to play it in February. Next we had Last Guardian had a new trailer, and it looked just as beautiful as ever. And apparently, after all this waiting, 10 years, it will come out in October. So just 4 or 5 months away after all this time. It's hard to believe that it'll actually happen, and maybe it won't. Maybe we'll get another delay, but just the thought of it is pretty unbelievable that we can finally see Last Guardian. Like everybody else in the world, Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are two of the most beautiful artistic games I've ever had the pleasure of playing. So finally getting the follow-up after all this time, of course, is a really big deal to me. And I can't wait to see if it'll live up to the hype. I think it's going to be a tall order. So we'll have to see if it's able to do that. Some other cool announcements from the Sony show. Kojima's new game, Death Stranding, was really, really crazy. I don't know why Norman Reedus is naked. I don't know why he doesn't have a belly button. I don't know why he had a baby. I don't know what those Schlage locks around his neck are. I don't know any of it, but it's very interesting. And definitely, like, if you have to have a cinematic trailer that's not going to show you any of the gameplay, at least make it like that compelling and that interesting, and that, you know, makes you want to see more of it, which they definitely had in spades. So that was cool, at least. It definitely, I mean, I think it surely will be one of the most talked about games of the show moving forward. It definitely was a cool impact. It was nice to see Kojima get his moment in the spotlight after all the nonsense he's gone through with Konami. It was very exciting. Just to see him, you know, finally get his chance to create again. So I'm excited just for that. Speaking of really compelling trailers, the Resident Evil 7 one was really exciting. It's cool to see, you know, I love Resident Evil 4. It's easily my favorite of the series. But for it to, you know, re-embrace its horror roots, I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm excited to see where they go for it. As far as the demo, you know, I do, of course, have PlayStation Plus. The demo is downloading, actually, as I'm recording this war story. I will probably play it, but I am such a coward. It might be like, I don't know the form that it will eventually take if I end up doing a video on it. I know that if I was going to, I should really strike while the iron is hot and try to get it up, you know, this week or something. And we'll have to see if I end up having the guts to get that done. So we'll have to see about that one. Spider-Man, very exciting. So Sony, of course, since it has control over Spider-Man in movies, it does in games too. So a brand new open world, unique storied adventure coming to PS4 only, made by Insomniac, the geniuses behind Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, I am super excited to see more of it. That's definitely, for how little we saw, basically just that it exists and they have, you know, great art in a comic book style, which, you know, you probably could have fairly well predicted. Very exciting looking trailer. And it would just be amazing for Spider-Man, or really any other hero, to get the renaissance that Batman did with the amazing Arkham Asylum, and then later on the rest of the entire Arkham series. So I'm happy for Spider-Man, happy for Spider-Man fans. I mean, of course, of which I count myself one, but you know what I mean. So still going with Sony's conference, Days Gone. We hadn't heard anything about it. We just knew that Sony Ben was working on something ever since Ghost of Sparta, and we see this amazing Last of Us, but with a biker, and they're running away from a flood of golems. Looks really cool. I'm a little bit worried the gameplay demo, it seemed extremely narrated. You know, like they acted like all this crazy stuff that could maybe happen. Like, okay, well, maybe he doesn't do that specific trick or that specific trap. But it seemed like the game was pretty signposted where you were supposed to go and what you were supposed to do. So we have to see if it ends up, you know, as chaotic and crazy as it seems in that little demo, which of course it won't be, but we'll see like how close the parody ends up being as we move forward in looking at what the game is going to have to offer in later days and months and such. So that was basically it for the regular games of the Sony conference. So we had PSVR had a big section of the conference too. I mentioned earlier, PSVR looks amazing. I think the price point, it's fair, but it's a little bit prohibitive when it's the exact same as the PlayStation 4 itself. But if I can scrape the money together, the X-Wing VR mission looks ridiculous, like amazing. Like you already have, you know, these amazing graphics of Battlefront, but to have it then be in VR where you're in an X-Wing, you just look up and see like the Tantive 4, the Death Star, Star Destroyers, TIE Fighters, like all of that, like really living the space. You know what? I'm gonna say that this isn't my fault because my team is obviously terrible. Like I was one of the best on my team, even though I didn't do very well. So I think we're kind of outclassed. But anyway, and Batman Arkham, I cannot believe they're making another Arkham game after all they talked about. It's coming out in October, so I don't know if it's some kind of rush job or if they've been working on it all along, or because they said it's like a murder mystery and it's a new story. When I saw Arkham, I assumed that they were making the Return to Arkham, the Asylum and City remakes that they've announced, would just also be for PSVR. But no, it's a new story, and that's like, I want to play it so bad. Besides Pokemon and Smash, the Batman Arkham series is my favorite video game series of all time, and I have to play it. So that's my biggest thing that's making me really, really want the PSVR. So we'll see if I'm able to make that work out. I'd be interested if I recorded for it. Like I guess it would look weird because it has like the two. Like when I've seen Oculus Rift gameplay, it'll show like two different things. So I don't really know. So it's harder to justify if I can't even use it for my channel. So finally, this morning, as I'm recording this, Nintendo finally had their moment in the sun with their very controversial, strange, very Nintendo-esque approach to E3, which is this not really doing a show. All they showed was the only thing they had on the floor was Zelda, which we now know finally is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which is I think a cool, compelling title. I like that it's different from the naming conventions, right? It's not the instrument or the item, or it's not descriptive of the plot. It's more descriptive of the adventure, which I think is kind of cool, and it matches how they're going with this extremely open world, extremely different, you know, boundary breaking, genre redefining adventure that Breath of the Wild seems to be. Like, this is not get your arrow and shoot the boss in the red eye, or at least that's not how it seems so far. So we'll have to see, you know, as they eke out information in the next almost a year until the game finally comes out, if it really is as different and as revolutionary to the Zelda series as it seems to be. But for now, very, very exciting. The new gameplay looked amazing. I really like that they've gone for the somewhat cartoony style because it'll just make it age better. Like, look at Wind Waker, even Wind Waker HD compared to Twilight Princess HD. Which one was more fun and more engrossing, and which one did you really stick around for? If you ask me, Wind Waker is just 10 times the game that Twilight Princess is, and the graphics held up that much better too. I don't know about 10 times the game. I like it better. So Breath of the Wild, just really excited. I like all this stuff about like hunting and finding weapons and crafting and making food to survive. I mean, it really is. I guess, I mean, it's used in a derogatory way, but Legend of Skyrim, but that's cool. Like, don't you want that for Zelda? Like, don't you want the game that started, like, Zelda? Skyrim wouldn't exist if not for the popularity and reach of Zelda in the first place. So for Zelda to kind of circle around and now bring in some of the conventions that other games have taken to continue to redefine and grow the genre, like, I'll definitely take it. So Nintendo showed a few other things that I actually was little to be excited about besides like the big obvious exception. A new Mario Party called Star Dash, I think that's what it is. A new Mario Party line of amiibo to go with that, which honestly is more exciting to me than the game itself because I'm a freak for amiibo. But and then I think they're going to show some more stuff tomorrow. Dragon Quest, and I think maybe some of the new Monster Hunt. I can't remember exactly what it is because none of it was really super interesting to me because they're just holding off until they announce the NX. It sucks for, you know, a company I love so much to be, you know, in this holding pattern, just waiting for the next generation to begin. But I mean, I guess all we can do is wait and hope. But the one other thing they showed this morning was they had a live gameplay demo and a little Q&A for Pokemon Sun and Moon. I haven't mentioned anything about Sun and Moon on the channel yet, I don't believe. I might have in my 20th century hype or 20th anniversary hype video. But Sun and Moon looks great. I'm excited. I like how the starters look. I like how the legendaries look. I'm excited about the Hawaii region, the 4 islands, everything that they've shown so far. And then today, the Battle Royale and a few of the new Pokemon. Young Goose is already one of my favorites of the new guys for sure. Because he looks like some little kid brother to Munchlax, a fellow big eater, which is very exciting to me, of course. Your resident Snorlax and Munchlax fan. So yeah, Sun and Moon, could not be more excited for that. So if I had to do, I have been kind of deleting my list as I went along so I wouldn't repeat myself or miss anything. But if I had to do my maybe top 10 games for E3, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Sun and Moon, God of War 4, Days Gone, Dishonored 2, The Fractured But Whole, Horizon Zero Dawn, Last Guardian. I don't know. That's probably about 10. I don't know. It's a bunch of stuff that looks really good. And then maybe even like Dead Rising 4, because I'd be kidding myself if I didn't say like I'm jealous. And We Happy Few too. Okay, look. Okay, tangent time. We Happy Few. I was watching Jim Sterling's show, his YouTube channel, and he did stuff to cover We Happy Few. It's really cool to me. So I started haunting their Kickstarter page and was like looking at donating to it. I was like, well, you know, it's only coming to PC for now. It'd probably just be a waste, you know. And they're like, well, if we are able to move to consoles, you know, we've been talking to Sony, all this. And it looks like Microsoft just like scooped them out from under, and then maybe it's just like a timed exclusivity thing, and it'll come to PlayStation eventually. But I'm still mad because I want We Happy Few. A lot of the ex-Bioshock guys made it. It looks cool and creepy and dystopian and fun. I don't know. So yeah, We Happy Few, I guess it'd have to be in my top 10 as well, even though it's just out of... I can't help but be sad and jealous at the same time. Wait, partner, I can give you a Bacta. Yeah, there you go. Look at that teamsmanship. Okay, let's see if we can score, and then I guess we'll go ahead and call that a war story. But anyway, you know, in the comments below, talk about, you know, what are you really excited about for E3? What kind of is getting you going? Do you agree or disagree with me? The stuff that I thought was pretty exciting. I thought it was an okay E3. I thought that the number of new IPs and actual like release dates for things was a little disappointing too. All those Sony games I saw that were really got me hyped. Like none of them are coming out this year except for Last Guardian, and we didn't see anything new from No Man's Sky, which is another one I've been really looking forward to. So, but other than that, it's been a decent show. And as always, you know, I'm excited for the future. I'm a gamer, so whenever we get to see cool new things and can get excited about what's to come and, you know, new worlds to explore, all that sort of thing, then it's great. So E3 is always an exciting, fun time of the year for me. And if it is for you too, how about leaving a like down below? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss War Stories every Tuesday and Thursday, but there's always something here every single day here on the Full Incense YouTube channel. My name has been Jericho. I don't know about you guys, but I'm full.